Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, October 24th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is a voiceover artist, actor, and producer, and I'm excited to have him here in the dollhouse with us, Fashion Dolls. Let's welcome our very special guest, Kenneth Grissom. Let me go ahead and send this live to him. Get him in here. Hello. Hello. Welcome to
Good
the.
after.
How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon.
I'm doing wonderful. Such a pleasure to have you here. So, before we get into this interview, how has 2023 been for you so far?
Well, 2023 has actually not been bad for me. I've actually gone to Atlanta for quite a few things. I've been in, it's called Project Armistice, but I think it's Apollo 11 with Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. So I have, yeah,
Oh,
so I have, I've done that with them, and I've done some other stage plays with the Houston Grand Opera also. So we're getting there. We're getting there little by little.
so it's been a great year. The year is halfway out. We'll get to your plans for what's to come in the year of 2024 throughout this interview, but
Mhm.
let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, King, because you are a voiceover artist. You are the ultimate hyphenate. Like you have so many titles. That's why I asked when I made your flyer, what are your titles? What all do you do? So tell us a little bit about who Kenneth
Well, I don't sing. I don't do that
is.
yet, but I could, and if need be, I will. But he is, I worked in the medical field for almost 20 years, and so that's my background initially when I went to school and finished my education, and I started to look at life a little bit differently. With a lot of people passing away and what have you, it changes the way you think of things and how you want to live your life. And so, with myself, I said, well, let me transition into a career that not that I didn't enjoy working in the medical field, but let me transition into a career that will have me will allow me to be more of myself, and
Yeah.
will allow me to expound and be a different person. Because once I was in the medical field, I'd always had to be the same person. I always had to be straight and narrow, and it made for a boring guy. So I
Now you
think,
play.
go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry
So
for interrupting.
I transitioned. I was invited by a friend of mine who had a talk show, and the talk show transitioned into a play, and initially that's how I started the entire thing.
And from there on, you jump started your acting career, and from there on,
I
and
did.
you've done a number of plays and films.
I
Well, I
do.
mean, where do I begin, just to say the least? So, for you, when did you discover? At what age did you discover that acting was going to be a passion of yours?
I discovered acting was going to be a passion when memorization is not the best for most people,
Yeah.
and most of us really struggle with that, and that's always been a struggle with me. And once I started transitioning, I started working less in the medical field and a little bit more into acting, taking classes, just trying to be the best that I could be, like anything else. If you're going to do it, you need to be passionate, and you will need to put the time into it, and you don't want to half-ass it. So I decided that this was something I wanted to pursue because a couple of people told me I should, and people will tell you anything. But I actually enjoy it. I talk about it and I say I don't want to do it, but I actually halfway enjoy it. I love being in front of the camera on stage. Initially, I was on stage more so than I was on camera, but I like to do, I like to do it all. I would rather do stage. I would rather do film. I would rather do voiceover. So for me, it, it's no reason that you can't do it all.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even some of the greats like Ozzie Davis, Ruby Dee, Denzel, Viola Davis, all of them have done Broadway and on stage, but
Very
it's
much
a
so.
different scenario than as we were doing our interview, conversing in our interview right now. But it is in the same way, technically, it's still
Mm,
on set, but in real time, the audience is there seeing what's going on, what's happening. So
absolutely.
for you, if someone is going to make a movie about your life, who would you get to play you?
Gosh, I would say I like Will Smith. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I do like God, what's the gentleman's name who tap dances? Gregory Hines. Yeah.
rest his soul, yeah.
Oh, ultra talented. I don't know how to tap dance, by the way, but um, yeah, those guys there, they're really, really influential people. There's a multitude of people that I like that I didn't know that I was interested in until I started acting. It's like, wow, that guy's really good. You watch it. I watch it more for the content now, instead of enjoying the actual play slash film. So there's a lot of people out there that are killing it from a content point of view. It's like, oh, did he do that? So I have to watch movies twice because I'm looking at it, and well, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And so for me, I can go back now until now, but I like Will Smith. He's really, really,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows Denzel Washington, but there's another gentleman who did fences with Denzel Washington. He was in theater too, also really, really good. We're really good at what they do. So there's a lot of people that come from theater that turn into really good. Viola Davis,
Oh yeah.
they started people that went to Juilliard and they started in the theater and they became really good stage or film people. And I think that's going to be my path. I know that's going to be my path rather. I'm going to transition, but a lot of times people will go back to theater. Matthew Broderick,
Yeah. Oh, Lee Ralph is another one too. I
very
mean,
much,
the list
yeah,
goes on and on. They all started off in
very
theater.
much so, very much so. So for me, it's theater tends not to make as much money, but you do it for the love of it, and there are people like Denzel Washington who will return back to theater and return back to film and stuff like that. So I try not to mimic people so much, but I try to look at their path and say, okay, what did they
Oh,
do
yeah.
to get to where they were? Which I'm gonna try to do that myself.
Now, being a Broadway actor, because you've been in theater, what is the last thing you do before you step on stage and that curtain goes up? What is the last thing that you
Use the bathroom. Use
do?
the bath. Use the bathroom. Very much so because those nerves. That's the last thing you want to be thinking of while you're on stage because when that curtain goes up, you should already know your lines. Use the bathroom. That's what I would recommend anybody. Even if you don't think you have to, find a bathroom, use it because you don't want to be up there and this, that. And you're thinking of you know what I mean? You want to be straight and know your lines and know your pickup words and everything like that. You don't want that. But bathroom is important to me. To me, that's you know really a big thing. I would tell anybody, and I'm sure that a lot of other people may say the same thing with that. Use the bathroom. Make sure your head is clear. Make sure you're not thinking of anything else. Make sure
Yes.
you put your script down and just breathe because sometimes you may not be able to come back on until 15 minutes, 20 minutes later. Yeah, which is that's happened. That's scary.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while on stage? Because I know it can be nerve wracking. All of these people are out here watching you, and then you, like you say, you have to make sure that you remember your lines. And sometimes you mess up, and the audience will instantly catch on to it, and then it's next thing you know, it's a headline. So, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while on stage?
I've actually forgotten lines. Um, you just go blank sometimes, and whether you're at film or stage, it happens to the best and worst of us. I've forgotten my lines, and I've had to regroup. I only have maybe 2 or 3 seconds to regroup, and I finished it, but it wasn't a pleasant experience at all. And I learned from it, and I should hope
Mm.
no one should ever have to go through that. But I almost think you have to A, humble yourself, B, to make sure you really know what you're doing, because you may be thinking of a pickup line or something like that, and you miss that, and then you just go blank, and you have no idea where you were. You have no idea how to get back to the beginning, the middle, of the end of what you're supposed to say. Yeah,
At all.
at all.
So, what does the present mean to you? Because I know the year is halfway out, and I said this to my guest yesterday, Logan Simmons.
Mhm.
The year is halfway out. What does the present look like for Kenneth?
As we speak now, I've winded down somewhat in the summer. There were a couple of auditions that I wanted to do that I didn't audition for simply because I wanted to take some classes. There were some parts that I would have liked to have gotten, and I did not get them. And so I said, let me step back and let me take some classes. I took a class in Atlanta with Greg Allen, and I'm taking classes where I'm at currently with another gentleman that's studied at Juilliard, and another person also. So right now he is, and I let me say that I did take I was involved in a film festival, and so that was a 10 by 10 film festival in Houston. I did do that. So 10 minute, 5 10 minute plays, and I was in one of them. So I did do that to kind of keep everything sharp. But right now I am trying to build. I'm trying to expound upon on what what type of actor I want to be, which is the best, as we all want to be.
Now, do you think your dreams are a reflection of something deeper within mind?
Well, I tend to want to believe that. I don't know if it is or not. Um, this is something that I can honestly say I never thought I would be doing. Um, Initially when I was going to school, I wanted to continue to go to school and, be a doctor or something like that. And life changes, and you have to change with it. So I can really say I would have never ever thought at the 20-year or the 30-year-old me that I would be on stage trying to remember things, because I was always nervous about remembering things anyway. So I can't say that this is something that I thought about when I was 4 or 5, and then I went another path because of something else changed in my life. I can't say that really at all. 10 years ago, you couldn't have told me this.
Now, you've talked about life. What do you think makes life more meaningful?
As I have aged, and I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40 right now. As as I have aged, the age old added or the age old additive of just really enjoying life, I think, more, whether it be by yourself, with your family, with a mate, with a friend, with your dog. Um, Spending money, spend your money. Don't just save it all, spend it, because you never know. And I think COVID has taught us a lot of that, and which
Yes.
is, yeah, which is why people don't want to do the 95 anymore, and they found out that life is short, and we may not be able to eat crab, but we can eat something and enjoy. I can enjoy what's happening in my life right now.
What is one thing you would want a second chance with?
Well, I had a friend of mine that passed away, and
Oh,
I would have liked to have said bye to him, but at the same time, I did help him in a way that I felt comfortable that when he died, I just wasn't there when he passed away. So I would have liked to have said goodbye to him in a more, I wouldn't say a respectful way, but in a more personal way. That's off the top of my head. I think I would have liked that, because he was a good friend of mine, almost like a dad to me, and he passed away when I wasn't there, but I did say bye to him the day before, knowing that I may not be there to see him transition. So that off the top of my head, I believe that's that's where I'm at on that.
Uh, be remiss. My condolences, because I know what it's like to lose a friend, to lose a
Mm-hmm.
sibling, to lose someone. That is a different kind of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to not say your last goodbye to your sibling is just the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it dawned and it hit me. It was like it poked through my heart when I lost my sister back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the biggest, hardest pill for me and my family to have to swallow, knowing that she's no longer going to be here, because her birthday is June 29th. Mine's is coming up this Halloween. I'll be 30.
Mm-hmm.
And not her not being here, because she would bake me a cake. She
Mm-hmm.
would do all of these things, I mean, cards. She was very crafty.
Yeah.
It's just like all of that thing that fills me up is no longer here. You feel empty somewhere. So I know all too well about losing friends, losing
Yeah.
a family. It's a different kind of pain. And I can remember the day that we buried her, the look on my mom's face,
Mm.
because as a parent, I'm not a parent. I'm an aunt, a new aunt.
Good. Good.
So I'm
Good.
excited about that. But as a parent, looking at my mom's face, me being a child and looking at my mom's face while her baby's being laid to rest, it's
Mm-hmm.
a different kind of feeling. Like, I don't ever want to feel that kind of pain. But yeah, I know what it's like to lose a sibling, to lose a friend. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly, with wanting to bring someone back
Mm.
or have a second chance to just say, hey, let's conversate, before it's
Yeah.
time to meet the king
Yeah.
and go home. But
Yeah. You start to see things that remind you of them, and I kept the jacket of his, and it still smells the same
yeah,
way, and
me too.
yeah, it's deep, man. It's really deep when you do that. It just He used to ride motorcycles, and now people who ride motorcycles, they reminds me of him, and he used to work for FedEx, so I give him a great reverence, because he was a good man to me. Like, I don't know what he was to everybody else, of course, but he was a
Yeah,
good man to me, and he was a good dude, and I truly do miss him. I don't. I try not to think about it as much, because
me
it
too.
does bother me. But yeah, but I do miss him. So, but he was a good man.
And for me, it's different because it's certain, and I say it's different because I've kept certain things that my sister had,
Hmm.
like her makeup case,
Oh
I
yeah,
still have that. And then the card that she made for me, I found it one day when I was going through all of my cards from 18,
mm,
19, 20, up until I turned 23, all of my birthday cards. And the one that she made me, it had Tweety Bird on it. I said, yeah,
yeah,
she was very crafty. And I think the craftiness sort of rubbed off on me because I started doll collecting. I collect Barbies now. So that's a new thing for me. She never did it, but I also do puzzles in my spare time. So
hmm,
all of the things that she used to do, I feel like it's rubbed off on me, and
hmm,
she's here. And so I would
absolutely,
go in a store and I would look at certain candy bars. I noticed that she would eat certain candy bars. Like Payday was her favorite candy bar.
hmm,
And I can't look at a Payday to this day without saying she used to eat that.
ugh,
Past tense. It sounds weird
yeah,
saying something about a person in past tense. And that
yeah,
person, typically would be there in the car with you, shopping or talking to you, or being able to talk to them and hear their voice on the phone. It's a different kind of feeling.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. It's deep. I tell you, it's those little things, and once he died, I didn't want to go to his funeral, and I ended up crying before I went on stage, because it really bothered me, and so I held it in and just let it all out at the wrong time, unfortunately. But I was my castmates were there to help me with that.
Support.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
because
right.
it was bad. Yeah.
I The same for me, but it was kind of different. It didn't really hit me until the day before we were at the setting up. We were arranging the funeral and everybody came by to visit the house and everything like that.
Hmm.
And it came time to view the body. That's when it really, really dawned on me. I said, I can't go.
Hmm.
I just can't. Me
Hmm.
and my cousin, because all three of us were so close,
Hmm.
me and my cousin stayed back at her house. And we just were in our phones. We were just thinking about her. We talked about her briefly, but we couldn't view the body. And then that
Hmm.
Friday was the funeral.
mm,
And that's when it's just like, okay, this is real. So my aunt, who passed away, unfortunately, rest her soul, she said God put her in a new place. She's got a new body. She's healed. And I looked at it this way. I'm like, yes, you don't have to suffer anymore.
mm,
But
mm,
that was the day for me. I just couldn't view the body.
mm. I didn't go look either. I'd rather have not. Yeah, I'd rather have not. I'd rather have remembered him in a better light because it's been said the last thing you see is the last thing you remember, and that's true. That's true.
And
Yeah,
it's real. When you
yeah.
walk up to their casket and you're looking at them, it's open casket, and you're looking at them, it's just like, wow, so much you could have did in this life. And, and
Yeah,
yeah,
the last thing I remember was him hooked up to a bunch of tubes, and that image stayed with me, and so it has, and so but I, I I don't I don't talk about him as much anymore because it is a big deal with me. But he was, as I said before, he was a good guy to me, and I every so often I miss him, because if you dwell on it, then it'll just wreck you.
yeah.
It will just wreck you. So, but yeah. So that would be one thing that I would have liked to have done. I would have really liked to have said goodbye to him in a more personal way. But at the same time, I felt like I did, not to be little, but I felt like I did my part during a time he was alive and well, to where if I didn't make it, then I'm okay with it because I know that I did everything I could to help him during that time.
And we're gonna shift gears here because I know we got kind of real. So the next question is, but that's personable. When you lose a sibling or a friend that is close to you, it is a different kind of pain. It's a
That
different
is,
kind of feeling.
that
And
is,
you won't realize it until you're driving in your car. You look at something that reminds you of that person. So my mom was like, "You've been thinking about her," and she thinks about her too. She'll ask me, "You've been thinking about your sister?" And I say, "Yes, absolutely." Certain things that she would do, and there's certain things that I do that remind her of her,
mm, mm,
or certain things that my siblings, my brothers, or my sister would do that remind us of her. So
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, it's pivotal. But my next question for you is, what do you do when you're not doing theater?
Well, well, what I'm doing now is um, I'm actually grooming myself. I'm actually letting my facial hair grow because I am in the class that I am. They're teaching us how to groom ourselves to make ourselves look a certain way. So that's what I'm doing at this current week. But I love the outside. Right now, it's still warm somewhat, so I love the outside.
Yeah.
Although my allergies are kicking up, but I do love the outside. I love sitting outside. Exercising. I always try to make sure I stay in shape, a better shape than an average. And of course, the older you get, the more harder it is, and you want to eat more cake. But I do try to make sure I stay in shape. So it's the way of an actor's life. You're either trying to do something, you're either capitalizing on one thing or capitalizing on another. My photography. I am a published photographer also,
Yeah.
and so I have to supplement myself by doing my photography, and so I'm doing that if I'm not looking at a script right now, whether it be in class or whether it be in on stage and stuff like that. So my photography business as well as my acting, they're the arts. And like I said, you would have never said it. You would have never thought that I would be so much into art, 20 some years ago or 30 some years ago. So eating, I like to eat, not a lot. And every so often I like a good cocktail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoy the leisures. And speaking of leisures and beauty, yeah, as you've mentioned, your photography company, Opiate Photography, beautiful, stunning photography. Where do you pull the inspiration from to just, okay, I want to take a picture of this. I want to take a picture of this because I like imagery too. As you can tell from my Instagram, I'm a fashion girl and I'm always
Mhm.
flipping through. a lot of fashion
mm,
magazines.
mm.
And then there's the food parts in the fashion magazines as well too. So where do you pull inspiration from to shoot the most beautiful images?
Well, opiate photography. Let me step back. Opiate is a medical terminology for the eye, and I worked
Mm-hmm.
in the medical field, and so I took that and made that into a photography company myself. A lot of times I'll just look, and I worked in radiology. I was a supervisor in radiology, ultrasounds and X-ray. And so for me, it wasn't really difficult. I took some classes in photography, so I made sure I knew the basics of it, and I can look at something and say, wow, that would be a great picture. Let me frame it, let me shoot it, let me edit it. It's a great picture. Or it might not be, but I think that everybody has a side in which they don't want to be photographed on, whether it be this side, that side, or a building. So I think you have to really, I don't think any photographer really knows up front. I think you have to build on it in your mind and say, okay, that's going to be a good picture. Well, turn a little bit this way or turn a little bit that way. Or maybe that building, I can move it to the side or maybe down, whatever the case may be, I can squat down, look up. So I think it's just a matter of in your mind's eye, you have to see the picture and you have to frame it in a way that's going to look presentable to you, but presentable to your client also. It's really,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's really about seeing it and then doing what you're supposed to do as a photographer to get that picture the way that you really think it could be got.
Now, you've talked about taking pictures at an angle. What are some of the mind blocks and difficulties that you've overcome within the last year?
Well, the weather has been super hot everywhere, and I love shooting outside. I always encourage photographers to shoot outside if they can. And that's not always the case of where you live, but California, maybe East Coast and stuff like that. But if you're down south, then forget it. June, July, August, forget it. But I always encourage photographers to shoot outside. I love shooting outside. The vibrant colors.
Oh
But
yeah.
that takes a little bit of expertise to match that color with your subject. And so I always encourage everybody to do that. I shoot in studio also, but I love shooting outside. I love black and white photos also.
Me too. And we just talked about it not too long ago with one of my guests that I had on the show, Ellen Margareta Norden from
Hmm.
Sweden, and she is obsessed with all things black and white. We
Hmm.
both come to discover that she's a Libra, I'm a
Okay.
Scorpio, and we both love black and white imagery. And we go all the way back in time. She's a big Marilyn Monroe fan, and we both discovered that we both love Marilyn. And uh, who else was it? Grace Kelly, and
Ah,
so many of the actors, Dorothy Dandridge, so many of the actors during that time period
Andrew.
who did black and white
Hmm.
film in that era, and then transferred on to color. So it's always classic
Absolutely.
when it's in black and white. It's the most beautiful image.
Absolutely. If you can get that skin tone right, on the
Mhm.
person, it will just be a hell of a photograph. And so I would encourage, photographers to do that also. Get a picture and have them wear white or black or something like that and make it a black and white picture. It'd be really nice. If they're inside, outside, but just use what you have to your disposal. And I guarantee a lot of times you can get a good picture, a good photograph, a good image of somebody, and they'll love it. I've shot models, I've shot celebrities, I've shot Uncle Nearest bottles and stuff like that. So, I tend to shoot it all. I've shot restaurants and what have you, and birthday parties and weddings and stuff like that. So, I believe that I'm really good at what I do. Like anything else, you have to stay on it, or you'll get left behind and you won't advance with what's
Yeah,
going on. And so, I've spent a lot of money on equipment to get the best, runway shots and stuff like that. Because if you don't have decent equipment, then you're not going to be able to photograph your subject in a way that's going to be pleasing. You just may not have the equipment, and that takes money. Just like acting, it takes money. And so um, for me, it's really keeping money coming in some way from one of the others, to supplement the other.
What is one, what do you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago? What is one thing you wish you did spending time doing 5 years
I would say investing more in acting.
ago?
Yeah,
Mm,
I would say investing more in acting. But again, I did not know. I started acting probably 7 years ago. Um, yeah, probably 7 years ago. I would have spent more time developing my craft and really saving money. Saving money, yeah, because as we know, 5 years ago, that was pre-COVID. Um, none, none of us knew that was happening and going to happen at all. And so I would have saved more money. Um, yeah, yeah,
and it was so unexpected. Like you would have never expected it to come. And me and my mom were just talking about it. Like, wow, the years going by so fast, and it's
yes,
just like things have opened back up. Whereas it was everything was shut down. If you're in the Broadway arena, almost everything was shut down. So everybody
yes.
had to do everything virtual.
Yes, I did my last performance right before they shut everything down, and I did some virtual performances to try to stay sharp. But consequently, I believe somebody got sick that day too. But yeah, I did my last performance right before everything shut down, and like I said, I did some virtual performances to try to stay sharp. But um, yeah, nobody was prepared for that, I don't believe.
No, it was so
It was
unexpected.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. But COVID taught everybody a lot of things, I would imagine. Yeah, about life and about survival and about what you should do just in case. You should always have a just in case.
And it's a sense of togetherness as well too, because I say when it happened, it brought me and my family even more closer because we have a chat group on Messenger. We keep in touch
Mm,
with each other,
mm,
and I text my cousin. It's been a minute since I text her,
hmm
but we always try to keep in touch and communicate with one another. So
hmm
this thing has brought a sense of togetherness to unite people together.
I'd
So
say
that's
so.
what it's.
I'd say so. Very much so. Yeah. It's people are a little bit more afraid of things, but I don't see that being a bad thing. I think, we all need to be more cautious.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. My
I think so.
next question for you, because we've got some games here we're going to play with
Okay.
Kenneth. But before we get to that, I have two more questions. And the next question I want to ask you is when do you feel it is time to stop calculating risk and rewards and just do what you know is right?
The different generation that the younger generation, the maybe the 30 and unders or maybe the 25s and unders, they're actually doing that right now. They're actually
Mm-hmm.
the hell with working 9 to 5. We can live in a van and do what we want to do. And again, we may not have a nice car, but we have a place to stay. I have my dog. But look at those folks. Those people are doing it. And they're a clear example. So I don't know. I think that's based upon what you have going on in your life as we speak, and where are you at mentally. I don't know. I can't say that. I think we all should probably live out our dreams, but we all have to keep the lights on.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that's a question that I think most of us would really need to really think about that and understand where we are financially, mentally, and physically. Yeah,
What, what would you regret not fully doing, being, or having in your life?
I would really regret not. That question is a good question, actually. Um, as we speak now, I can't say there's anything I do regret as we speak now. My regrets are really, 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 really small, but I've been fortunate that I'm a still here, be able to do what I love. Um, I would have calmed down on the exercising because I was training for the Ironman triathlon at 19 or 20, and I was killing my body, and I should have stopped, and I didn't stop, and ended up just really doing some damage to my body. And most guys will tell you that they should have done the same thing. You think, well, that didn't get me anywhere, so it didn't get me anywhere doing all of that. And so I would have watched my body a little bit more. I would have really just said, okay, you don't need to do all of that. I wasn't in the NFL, so it didn't net me anything doing that to my body at all. I would have definitely been more careful with my body, knowing that I had known now, 30 years later. Ugh, I should have stopped because that extra mile didn't mean a thing.
All right, fashion dolls. So you guys know what time it is. It is time to get into some games here with our guest Kenneth. And the first one is called the Rapid Five. Now, in the Rapid Five, what we do is I allow my guests to tell me five things that they can't live without. And it can be life in general, their favorite drink, their favorite food, a mantra, whatever it
Okay.
is that comes to mind. Five things that they can't live without. And then the next one we're going to
Okay.
do is called Turn the Table.
Okay.
And this is where my guests get to ask me questions, as many as they want. It can be on fashion, beauty, life, family, goals, whatever they're curious to know about me. If for the viewers out there, the new viewers, you get to know a little bit about me through Kenneth's question. So we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are five things that Kenneth can't live
Sweets,
with? Okay,
cars, um, skincare, um, water, and and organization. Yeah,
same way.
yeah,
I'm the same way.
organization.
I like things to be set and organized a certain way. I don't like to be off schedule for nothing, but I understand that things happen. So it's unfortunate, but yes, I'm the same way.
Gotta have my watch. Gotta have my watch. Gotta have a
Mm.
watch. Gotta know what time it is. Gotta, you know, which is a rigid attitude, but I got to know what time it is. And I like to set my time on what I'm supposed to do. And I don't like when things happen.
All right, fashion dolls. It is time to turn those tables.
Okay.
Kenneth here is going to ask me some questions. And through the questioning, again, you guys will get to know a little bit about me, my passions, goals, whatever he asks, you guys will get to know what it is. All right?
Okay.
So take it over.
What's one thing you would have done different in your life at this very moment?
Ooh, one thing I would have done different. I would have to say learn to let go of fear
Mm,
because I always worry so much. And my
mm,
mom said that to me. You worry about almost
mm,
everything. And I know my fraternals in here watching Ali, and he'll say it too. You worry too much or you stay stressed out. I'm always on pins and needles
mm,
worrying because I want things to go perfect. And I'm a perfectionist. And all of us that are creators out here, we are perfectionists. We are deep in our craft.
mm.
So that's why I worry so much about certain things. But I'm just like, it's in God's time and it's going to work out fine. It's going to work out perfectly in the end result. And then
Mm,
somebody will come back and tell me, see, we told you.
mm, mm. At 12 years old, where were you at and what were you doing?
At 12 years old,
Okay.
discovering myself fully, taking it all in, getting in tune with myself. You know that something is different at a certain age
Hmm.
in your preteen years.
Hmm.
12, 13 for me, and I was discovering myself. And that's when I discovered who I was fully. So at that time and that point in my life, discovering myself.
Good. If you were not in South Carolina, is that what I understand? Okay. If you were not South Carolina, where would you be?
Ooh, Indonesia.
Okay.
I would have to say Indonesia is beautiful, and I've learned to get in tune with nature. How do I stay so zen? I watch a lot of puzzle videos. I watch a lot of gardening, and my mom has put me onto it. So being outside, being in tune with nature. That's where I would Indonesia.
Mm. If you were born in the 70s, what would you be? What would you be? What kind of person would you be if you were born in the 70s?
Ooh, if I was born in the 70s, I that's yeah, my father was out during that time. I'm a 90s baby.
Okay. All right.
um, what type of person would I be? The same type of person I am now, generous, kind, nurturing, but definitely assertive and standing up for myself and being bold and standing up for others who don't have a voice. So that's what type of person I would be.
What would you say to the people like yourself at this moment?
Live, live. Life is too short. Uh, be bold, take chances, take risks. I know it can be scary, especially doing it for your career, because just
Mm,
like it's going to either be it's like sort of like trial and error, but you never know unless you jump. And my guest Logan Simmons, he said that yesterday. You never know unless you take a
mm,
risk. So I've always been the one out of all of my siblings, because it's like six of us, to take risk and be the most bold and daring, always, and live life on my own terms.
mm.
So yeah.
Okay, that's a good mantra. I'm working toward that. I wish I had done that earlier when I was in my 30s, but it's okay. It's okay. Live life because it is short and it is fleeting. You wake up one day and you're 30, you wake up another day and you're 40, and you're 50, and time does go faster when you get past 40. I know that for certain. It goes fast, and you know, the year just flies by and you start losing different parts and hair and you gray and what have you. And so you're not what you once was. And we all still try to strive for that. But unfortunately, Father Time waits for no man, or woman.
Right. So that's why I try not to stress about a lot of things. Everybody's like, how do you stay so zen? How do you stay so centered? I try not to stress about a lot of things, even though when you ask me, I said I worry a lot, but I try not to stress. I've
Mm,
learned to just relax
mm,
and find things that keep me content and that keep me not worried. Like it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. If it doesn't go to plan A, go to the next plan. Always have a backup. So there's nothing wrong with the new beginning.
always have a backup. Yeah, I'm a worrier also, and I'm learning not to because it will take control of you, and it will affect your insides as well as your outsides. You don't feel well a lot of times. Maybe you don't sleep well or something like that. So
At all.
a worry, or a worrisome person is definitely something that I am, and I'm working toward doing a lot better on. So I feel like I'm there, but speaking to you about it, it does help me actually.
And it puts your mind at ease. I've like I said, for me, I collect Barbies, and looking at them, just their beauty, their
Mm,
innocence, their style. It's just like you feel like you accomplished something. You
hmm
feel great about they bring me joy. And
hmm
not only that, Erica Badu said this when she did her interview with Tamron Hall. She said, I need to surround myself with things that bring me joy. And those things that bring me joy are my fashion. They're my Barbies. My Barbies, every time I look up at them, they give me a reason to get up,
mm,
to give you guys amazing shows and contents and
mm,
interviews. I always say a prayer when I get up, and I always do my morning affirmations, and that's what keeps me so grounded and centered as well too. I always pray before an interview. My mom said, don't get too big in this industry that you never lose sight of who you are
mm,
and never forget where you came from. She said, you put God first in everything that you do. That's what she told me, because my mother, growing up down here in the South, she was big on making sure that we stayed in touch with God. My brother went into the military, and I he chose the books and the military, and I chose looks. So how about
How
that?
about that? How
I went
about
to
that?
beauty school, and that was always a passion of mine. I always wanted to do hair. I always wanted to make people feel good about themselves. So we did the complete opposite, and I'm thankful that my parents allowed us to
Mm,
go in opposite directions and choose our own niche. Like each child is not going to be like the same child. Six of us. and each of us have our own personality, but we're outspoken in our own way. My brother's probably more outspoken than I am. He'll tell you right up front because he's a Cancer. Whereas me, I'll be like, it'll be a more gentle, nurturing approach,
Mm,
but I'll still give it to you, bro.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's you know, again, it's a generational thing that when I was growing up, it was really get your education. Uh,
Oh yeah.
particularly being a black man, get your education. And the generation after me, they were allowed to somewhat do what they wanted to do, and you can see it today. Not not everybody's rich, and not everybody wants to be rich, but they want to be just okay, and they're allowed to be just okay. I wasn't allowed to be just okay. So
You want you to make something of yourself. And that
absolutely,
was sort of the same way my upbringing was too, because my father served in the military. And so did my uncle and my brother, as I've mentioned. So it's like, make sure you make something of yourself. Either you're going to
absolutely,
go to college or you're going to go to the military. And I went straight to beauty school during my high school years. And that was something that I always, again, something that I've always wanted to do was hair.
mm,
So, yeah.
good, 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 good. I would have liked to have had that opportunity, but again, I shouldn't say that at all. I really should. My parents steered me in the best way that they could, in the best way that they knew how. As they wanted. I had two other brothers, and so I don't have any sisters, and so we were, you know, all right, gentlemen, this is what we're gonna do, and we all
Mm-hmm.
did it. So they did the best they could, as somebody would say.
And that's true.
Yeah,
You had to.
very much so, very much so.
All right, fashion dolls. And that is our turn the table segment. You kind of got to get an insight onto me because I talk a lot about my mom and how much she's been an influence on me on the platform. But you guys didn't know that I had siblings. Me and my brother look more so like my mom than anything. So, yeah, I'm thankful to have him and to have this new life, this new journey in my life. My nephew being here, who we go meet this Sunday, and I'm super excited to be able to hold him for the first time
Good,
and
good.
just to be able to love on him. I've already got him some baby clothes and things. So people were saying, don't spoil your nephew. I said, yeah, I'm going to spoil him.
I'm gonna spoil him. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
definitely
a great
spoil him.
feeling. I know I was spoiled a little growing up. So, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations. Good for you. Yeah.
thank you. All right, fashion dolls. My last question for you before we conclude and wrap up, and your final thoughts, like if you have any gems or anything. What is next for Kenneth in the future of the year of 2024? Because the year is halfway out. It went by, like you said in the beginning of the interview, so fast. And it's just
Very
like
much
we're in the
so.
month of October. Before you know it, because they're already putting Christmas stuff out in the stores. I'm like, Christmas is not even
Absolutely,
here yet. So,
absolutely.
what's in store for 2024?
Well, I'm going to finish out this year with classes. I'm not going to audition pretty much for anything. I'm going to finish out this year with classes, and I'm going to start back next year. I'm actually I'm actually, as we speak now, in class or for personal training. So I'm going to do that also. Um, so I'll put that with my photography, with my acting, and with my with the personal training. So I'll just do those things, and I'll finish that up probably March of next year. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing to supplement myself. I hope to be getting another degree next year or the year before. So I'll use what I have and further another degree and stuff like that. And so but I do want to get in front of the and on the stage, and I do want to get in film because with the actors strike and everything going on, you can see what's happening, and they're one of the things that they're talking about is that the AI is going to replace a lot of actors, and any actor out there, if you don't get ahead of that, it's going to leave you behind because they are going to do it. And they've already started to do it, whether we know it or not. You should pivot in some way to figure out something else because it's happening as we speak. So I'm getting ahead of that by they can't do AI in theater, so but they can do it on film. And so, because I like theater, I'm going to probably do a little bit more film than theater than film. That's my plan, but I'm definitely get ahead of what's happening because as we know, they've already started doing that. Crowds and different people. They've already started putting faces on different people, and so I would encourage any actor to watch out for that because it is happening. So 2024 is going to be an interesting year for me because I'm looking up. I'm looking up to bigger and better things and regional type theaters and more work in Atlanta and stuff like that. So I intend on really taking this and pushing it taking it to another level because I know that I can. It's there. I just need to acclimate myself a little bit more to what's happening. Yeah. So all the way up, as they say.
That's right. And to go back on what you just said, AI is so scary because the
Yeah,
voices sound just like how I'm talking right now. They can
they do.
create something and make it sound just like me or Kenneth's voice.
Yes,
You know our voice instantly, especially
yes.
with you being a voiceover artist. So,
That's already that's been happening a while now, and people just once they get your voice, might as well forget it. Once they get it, it could be on a not Southwestern Bell. It could be on a AT&T commercial or a T-Mobile commercial. It could be on a McDonald's commercial, and it's happening unfortunately, and it's going to put a lot of people out of the job. And that writer strike is still going on, and those people aren't the riggers, the background people, the people who sit in the booths, the lighting people, and the graphic artists. They don't have jobs now, and uh, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And with the way things are going up, cost of living, you've got to make an adjustment right now. It's getting difficult to make it.
exactly. So,
So I'm ahead of
hopefully
that.
they reach an agreement. They
I hope
reached an
so.
agreement not too long ago, but for the actors are still out here on the picket lines.
They
So
are.
please,
They are.
hopefully they reach an agreement for the actors.
I should hope so because because as we all see, there's nothing on Netflix anymore.
Mm-mm. You'll
Yeah.
be watching reruns forever. One of the actresses from P Valley, Brandy, she actually said something to that extent. You'll be
Mhm.
watching reruns forever. So,
Yes, you see it. My goal is to connect with a lot of other actors also, and if I need to be in Atlanta, if I need to be in New Orleans, I filmed Emancipation in New Orleans, and I was there. But if it's to get my frequent flyer miles ready because I intend on not being just stationary where I'm at. I intend on being on the coast and whether it be shooting photography or acting. I intend on being in California, maybe South Carolina, maybe Atlanta, maybe Detroit. So I intend on keeping myself healthy and making it known that I'm there, that I'm here.
yes. All right, fashion dolls. And the final thought of the day. Here's today's final thought of the day, which comes from our girl Laverne Cox. She says, by doing the work to love ourselves more, I believe we will love each other. So it starts with self love at first. You have to learn how to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning, as I've mentioned in our interview, I get up, I do an affirmation. And I also say a morning prayer as well too, like, God, please get me through the day, keep me nourished, keep my family nourished, keep us all protected. Something to that extent. But look in the mirror in the morning. Take a few minutes because we're so quick. We're now in a day and age where everything is X, Twitter, or X as they call it, or IG here, or FB. We pick up a phone and we're so logged in. Before I do that, I say my prayers, I wash my face, and then I go to pick up my phone and check my messages and then drop the morning inspiration. That's how I do it. I don't, first thing when I get up is pick up the phone.
Sure,
No, take that time to
sure.
reflect and love on yourself first and have a conversation with God. Every morning when I get up, that is something that I do. That is a ritual that I've done since childhood. My mom said, make sure you say your prayers, make sure you pray. Even before I had a test in school, she said, make sure you pray. You're going to pass this test. And luckily, I passed it. So
Absolutely.
self love begins first when you get up first thing in the morning and you learn to love yourself, fashion dolls.
Absolutely.
And that is today's final thought. So, Kenneth, for you, are there any gems that you would like to impart before we close out?
Well, I I tend to believe that the world is a better place than what we see right now. Um, I don't know if it is, but try to be the best person you can be. I try to be the best black man I can be, the best man I could be. Um, hold the door open for people if you want. That's really it. I really just try to be the best person I can be. And sometimes close your mouth because if you talk too much, then it'll come back and bite you. And that's one of the things I'm learning. If you're going to complain, complain to yourself. Don't complain to anybody else.
All right, fashion dolls, we have it. So let everyone know where they can follow you. I had such a great time, and I told you we were going to have a great time here in the dollhouse.
Absolutely,
We always do.
absolutely. Well, I am on Instagram at Ken_actor, Ken_Grissom_actor. Opia Photography is my photography site. OPIA_photography. Any casting agents out there, anybody need any photographer, please contact me. Despite how I look now, I am groomed. I am in class right now, and I'm letting everything grow out and looking a little bad. But despite how I look, contact me for any film or theater. I'm available to travel. Please contact me. We all can eat. We all can drink. Thank you all. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Definitely would love to have you back again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenneth Grissom, make sure you guys please go and follow him. Joining me Thursday, we have DeMarcus Bumpers. And Friday, get ready to turn up because your favorite girls are back. Me and my girl, Tina Marie, are going to be talking about our favorite fall, winter fragrances. So make sure you guys tune in for that Friday. We going to cut up. You know it. You know how the girls do when we get together. So make sure you tune in at 4 p.m. Friday, and I'll see you then. Take care, everyone.
Thank you all. Take care, y'all.
You too.